Welcome to the AWS reInvent 2020 recap series. You're at the architecture session and we're glad to have you here. My name is Mina Shitani. I'm a solutions architect here from AWS and I look after Queensland large enterprise customers. Now we have a great lineup of speakers today covering highlights of the architecture related releases for reInvent 2020. So smile and wave everyone. Now, there's going to be a ton of prizes that we're going to be giving away throughout this entire session. So if you want to win prizes, please log into your personal Twitch account and make sure you verify your email address while you're at it. If you don't have a Twitch account yet, go ahead and create one now because you don't want to miss out on prizes, do you? Now, let's test out this Twitch chat on the right-hand side. So curious to know where everyone is tuning in from. Love to know if you're from Australia, New Zealand, you could be somewhere overseas as well. So put it in the Twitch chat. All right, so as you might know, reInvent spanned for 3 weeks and even 500 plus sessions. So that's a lot of sessions for one person to consume. So what we've done is we've taken all the heavy lifting from you and we've condensed it into this particular session around architecture and infrastructure. So we have a jam-packed agenda as well that's coming up for this session. Now we have all of our great solutions architects and technical account managers from all over Australia and we're here to help. So if you have any questions throughout the session or feedback, any comments, please put that into the Twitch chat on the right hand side. We have a jam-packed agenda, as I mentioned before. Nolan and I, we're going to step through some compute containers and serverless, and then we have Swapna and Najib. They're going to talk about the database, hybrid, and storage. And last but not least, we have Robbie and Nelson talking about observability, compliance, and contact center. So we have everything here for everybody out there. And here at AWS, we value our customers' feedback. So we'd love to know how you felt overall about this session. We have a survey open at slido.com. We'll post that link into the Twitch chat as well. For those of you that complete the survey, we'll get may potentially get a lucky door prize, but you've got to be in it to win it, right? So awesome. All right, so keep those comments and interactions happening in the Twitch chat. All right, so before we move on to the compute section, I'd love to know, are you already using Amazon EC2 instances? And if so, which instance family? Are you thinking of maybe using Spot in there as well? Love to know which workloads you're using it for. Put it in the Twitch chat. All right, now I'm going to hand over here to Nolan.
Thanks, Mai. Hey, everyone. My name's Nolan Chow. I am a technical account manager based in New South Wales, supporting large enterprise. And I'm here to kick it off by talking about the Amazon EC2 instance families and the newest additions to those families. So, of course, Amazon EC2 instances are one of the many building blocks that many of you started on, use extensively today, and in many cases will continue to use for the foreseeable future. For everyone on Twitch, if you can remember your first ever instance type and the application you ran on it, please share it with everyone on Twitch. And I'm sure we'll get some good surprises in there. Now onto the meat of the recap. For this recap, or for this reInvent, we released to the cloud the fastest networking instances, the most powerful machine learning training instances, and the largest memory instances for SAP. And of course, we are the only cloud provider supporting Intel, AMD, and ARM. Next slide, please. So much of the processor innovation that customers benefit from today is driven by choices we made many years ago, like invest in AWS Nitro, our custom virtualization system. For those unfamiliar with AWS Nitro, we are able to break apart the hypervisor functions, offload them to dedicated hardware and software, and reduce costs by delivering practically all the resources of a server to Amazon EC2 instances. Likewise, in this reInvent, we proudly announce further results from our investments with the latest ARM CPU, the AWS Graviton 2. Next slide, please. Hey, Mai, before we get too far, do your customers rely on any particular EC2 families more than others?
Yeah, I've seen within my customers, a lot of them use C instance families. So they use it for compute-intensive workloads, such as for web-based workloads. I've also seen customers using M instance families as well for the database-related workloads as well. So a little bit of variety there, but I believe you're going to talk about all of this in a minute.
Yeah, we've definitely got announcements for both of those. So first up, we've got the C6GN instances, which offer the best price performance for compute optimized workloads that need high networking throughput, up to 40% better price performance compared to the C5N instances. These are great for open source based applications such as high performance computing, network appliances, real-time video, and data analytics. If these pique your interests, they're coming to region soon. Next slide, please. Available now, we have the M5zn instances, which are a high frequency, high speed, and low latency networking variant of the M5 that you just mentioned. These instances deliver the highest all-core turbo CPU performance from Intel Xeon scalable processors in the cloud, running all the way up to 4.5 gigahertz and in 7 sizes, ranging from 2 to 48 vCPUs. As it says there in the first line, if you have applications where the licensing is sensitive to vCPU numbers, have a closer look at the M5zn. Next slide, please. Now, these are great for customers who have edge case storage needs. If you're looking for instances that achieve low-cost, high sequential disk performance on local storage, that is on the instance rather than remote, then these should be in your field of consideration. Today, some customers are limited in storage capacity and throughput performance, meaning they are unable to effectively build clustered storage nodes with high-performance networking. These new D3 instances offer an upgrade path for D2 customers by including the latest Xeon processors with similar storage and compute capacity. The D3EN offers a complementary set of use cases by offering much higher storage capacity and networking speed. Both of these attributes allow customers to effectively use extreme scale distributed file systems to achieve far higher storage throughput than with a single instance or with EBS. D3EN achieves up to 75 gigabits per second of network throughput, which is 7.5 times D2. And use cases include Hadoop distributed file system, MapReduce, Kafka, Redshift, to name but 4. Next, please. Now, moving on to Amazon Ec2 R5b instances. The new R5b instances improve EBS performance by up to 3 times compared to the same size R5 instances, delivering up to 7,500 megabytes per second of bandwidth and 260,000 IOPS of EBS performance, the fastest block storage performance on EC2. Now, these are specifically designed for larger databases and analytics workloads that require higher EBS performance per instance, allowing customers to migrate on-premises workloads to AWS without re-architecting their applications. So, for example, if you have SQL running on R5 instances, it means you can consolidate your workloads onto fewer instances or move to smaller instance sizes. This enables customers to reduce both infrastructure and licensing costs. R5b can also be used with IO2 Block Express, which is in preview, to achieve the IOPS and bandwidth that I mentioned earlier on this slide. Next slide, please. These are available in a small number of regions now. And if you have visual developers, they are going to love these new G4 ADs if they rely on remote graphics workstations. They need game streaming and use rendering that leverage standard APIs such as OpenGL, DirectX, and Vulkan. These instances are powered by AMD Radeon Pro V520 GPUs and provide the best price performance for graphics-intensive applications in the cloud. These instances are up to 45% better in terms of price performance compared to the G4DN instances, which were already the lowest cost instances in the cloud. And you can choose from 3 different sizes, 1, 2, and 4 GPUs. Whew. Wow, that's a lot. Now, I've done compute, storage, networking, memory. Are there any other workloads that I've missed out so far?
And I think you forgot about machine learning, Nolan.
I didn't, because machine learning comes up next. Via collaboration with Intel, we will power EC2 instances with the latest Intel deep learning accelerator chip called Habana Gaudi. This is a custom designed chip for accelerating training of deep learning models, as opposed to using GPUs for machine learning. EC2 instances featuring these accelerators will deliver up to 40% lower cost to train deep learning models over current GPU-based instances, allowing you to iterate and train models more frequently and bring new innovations to market quicker. These instances will support common frameworks such as TensorFlow and PyTorch. Next slide, please. And you know what? In addition to working with Intel, AWS has designed a new chip in the machine learning space too, called the Trainium, and it's coming soon. Trainium-based instances will offer the best or the most teraflops of compute power of any machine learning instance in the cloud. We will make Trainium available on EC2 and SageMaker later this year. Now, Trainium-based instances will use the same Neuron SDK as the Inferentia instances already out there, and Inferentia are used for ML inference, making it easy for developers already using Inferentia to get up and running quickly. Trainium, of course, will support all the major frameworks like TensorFlow, MXNet, and PyTorch. And this is going to give you the best price performance for training models for applications like image or speech recognition, natural processing of language, personalization, fraud detection, and forecasting. Next slide. So I've covered machine learning, and then we're now on to the Amazon EC2 Mac instances, which is something that I've been waiting for a long time. Developers have told us that they spend too much time and effort building and maintaining on-premises macOS environments instead of building creative and useful apps. Now developers can run on-demand macOS workloads in the cloud for the first time, extending the flexibility, scalability, and cost benefits of AWS to them. These Mac instances will use VPC, elastic block storage, load balancers, FSx storage, and system manager, amongst many other services. So if you create apps for iPhone, iPad, Mac, and so on, then provision and access macOS environments within minutes, dynamically scale capacity as needed, and benefit from AWS's pay-as-you-go pricing. Now, these are powered by AWS Nitro system, which I mentioned earlier, and are built on the Apple Mac mini computers featuring Intel Core i7 processors, and offer 3 OS types: Mojave, which is 10.14, Catalina, which is 10.15, and the latest Big Sur, which is 11.0. So if you and your organization want to spin up a workload and experiment with any of the instance types I've spoken about, and you find that it's not yet in region, please speak with your account team. We'd love to get your support in bringing them to region sooner. Over to you, Mai.
Thanks, Nolan. Now, before we jump into containers, I'd love to do a prize giveaway. So I wish there was a jingle that went with this, but we're playing Whiteboard Pictionary. Now, what is that? I am going to draw a service, the best of my ability. And it's on you to guess what it is. You have to give me the full AWS service name. All right. Now, if you don't have a Twitch account, go ahead and create it and log in now if you already have a Twitch account so you can interact with us and put it in the Twitch chat. The first person to get it correctly will win a $50 Amazon gift voucher. All right, get your keyboards ready. So excuse my shoddy drawing. I am drawing with a mouse here. And despite what we do as an architect is we love drawing on whiteboards. So I thought, hey, why not make a game out of this and give away some prizes?
So I don't see any comments or guesses so far.
Oh, okay, I'll slow down a little bit.
All right. I can give you guys and girls a hint. They're not punch cards and they're not candles. So we've got a very, very close answer here, EC2 Mac, but that's probably not quite there.
Almost there. Keep guessing, keep guessing.
Pretty
Almost
close.
very close. Give me the full answer. You're almost there for the $50 prize.
Yeah. Oh, it's so close. It's like we've covered the four sides of a square. Okay, I can read out what we've got so far. We've had EC2 Apple, we've had Mac instances, we've had Amazon EC2 Mac OS.
Oh, that's the closest so
Oh,
far. Come on, keep guessing.
EC2 Mac instance, Amazon EC2 Mac instances.
Who's got that one?
That is Vineet Shukla. And yeah, I think that's our answer.
Our answer. Okay, all right. Congratulations, Vineet. You have received a $50 Amazon gift voucher, which is on the way. So we'll be in touch with you via the Twitch DMs. All right. So getting back into containers, which is my favorite section of them all. All right, so I'm curious to know if you're already using containers within your organization or thinking about it. If so, what kind of workloads are you thinking of using it for or already using it for? Love to know, put it in the Twitch chat. Now, did you ever wonder what other customers are using containers for in the enterprise space? And a lot of our customers are using it for applications. So they're building the back-end services that power their IT organizations and the consumer applications that drive their growth. And many of our customers build shared services platforms to help their development teams move faster. Now, these platforms automate software deployment and infrastructure provisioning, and they provide guardrails for management, security, and governance. We can't forget about that, can we? Now, customers are also containerizing their legacy workloads, which are on .NET, Linux, and Java applications, and they're moving it into AWS using containers. And as Nolan mentioned, we can't forget about machine learning. It is a very large and growing use case. And a lot of customers are using containers to put chatbots and recommendation engines. And it's a huge use case for many of our customers out there. Now, speaking of customers who are doing well in the container space is Domain. Now, Domain are in the real estate sector. So if you've thought about buying, selling, or renting a house or an apartment, you would have come across domain.com.au. Now, they wanted to modernize their Amazon EC2 infrastructure to Amazon ECS, which is our container orchestration platform. And they were able to do so using a wide variety of services, including ECS capacity provider attached to the auto scaling group, which enabled them to scale out and scale back in again really quickly. And in addition, they were able to monitor their ECS environment really well with CloudWatch Container Insights and CloudWatch logs in order to monitor their entire ECS infrastructure, including the container control plane as well. Now, with the guidance of the well-architected framework, they were able to achieve zero infrastructure incidents after modernizing to Amazon ECS. And that was great because that means no call-outs or alerts at night time, so they can sleep much better. 25% cost optimization, which is really awesome, and scaling time actually reduced by a whopping 250%. So that's amazing news for Domain. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out our reInvent 2020 session with the customer called Well Architected Containers, and it has a GitHub repo to go along with it, so you can deploy your very own well architected containers. So we'll put that link into the Twitch chat to know more. All right, so I've talked about Amazon ECS already. We also have two other container orchestration platforms, including Amazon EKS. So you can run Kubernetes at scale, and AWS Fargate, where you can run serverless containers at scale. Now, I know a lot of you are already using Amazon ECS because it just works. So I'm just curious, who is running containers on premises? It doesn't have to be on AWS, obviously. And I know some of you still have on-premises workloads, and you might be wondering, how could you bring applications close to close to you on premises, whether that could be for low latency or regulatory requirements. Now, this is where Amazon ECS Anywhere shines, because you can use containers without having to install or operate container orchestration software. So you can use the same Amazon ECS APIs, cluster management, and workload scheduling, and it works on virtual machines, bare metal servers, and other customer managed infrastructure. So very handy indeed. And for EKS fans, we haven't forgotten about you. We have Amazon EKS Anywhere, which is a new option for Amazon EKS that allows you to easily create and operate Kubernetes clusters on premises. And you can run that on VMs, your bare metal servers, and other infrastructure. Now, curious to know who's already operating and managing Kubernetes clusters on premises. Just like to know. And if you already do manually create Kubernetes clusters, you probably spent a lot of effort and time tracking updates, managing and determining compatible versions of Kubernetes and its dependencies, and then you have to actually test them for compatibility. And you have to keep up to date with Kubernetes releases. Now, that's a lot of operational heavy lifting that I wouldn't want to have. Now, with EKS distro, you can have access to installable, reproducible builds of Kubernetes for creating your own cluster, and you have extended security patching support even after community support expires. So very handy indeed, and it's available on GitHub. Now, some of you already might be using Amazon Elastic Container Registry or Amazon ECR to host your container images privately. But what if you wanted to share images publicly for anyone to download? Previously, you needed to upload these images to public registries and repositories, which may have some limitations around usage. Now, this meant that you needed to also copy and manage your public images locally, which makes it really difficult to stay in sync with the new versions of your images. So how do you overcome this problem? Well, we've released Amazon Elastic Container Registry Public. By publishing, you can publish to this ECR public as easy as a single Docker push command from your CI/CD workflows. So that means that you can share your container software worldwide for anyone that they can download for anyone with or without an AWS account. So very handy indeed. So Nolan, I think you have some stats around Amazon ECR Public.
Yeah, absolutely, Mai. So when we first started in early December 2020, we had about, well, it's just under 400 container images. Now customers are adding approximately 1,000 images a week. So we're getting really good velocity and really good upload numbers.
Wow, that's all the more reason to check out Amazon ECR Public. Everyone's starting to use this a lot. All right, so have you ever wondered, wouldn't it be awesome if you can run Red Hat OpenShift on AWS? Well, you don't have to wonder anymore, as this service is now available on preview. So curious to know if anyone is already running Red Hat OpenShift on premises. Love to know, put it in the Twitch chat. Now, this means that with this service, you can start building your very own Red Hat OpenShift cluster on AWS from the console without having to refer to pages and pages of documentation. And now it is consumption-based, so pay per use. So if you wanted to stand up your very own AWS Red Hat OpenShift cluster for test and dev environments, then tear it down, you can do just that. So very handy indeed. Now, before we jump on to serverless, I would love to do another $50 prize giveaway. So those of you who haven't won the prize yet, please feel free to participate, because we want to be fair to everyone so that everyone has an opportunity to win this prize. So what are we going to do? For those of you who just joined us, I'm going to draw a set of drawings, and your job is to now guess what I'm drawing. And you have to hit me with the full service name, okay? So no shortcuts there. And it'll be around some of the container services that I just talked about. So make sure that hopefully you have paid attention to the previous section. If not, you can take a wild guess.
All right.
All
They're all
right.
ready.
Okay, get your keyboards and thinking caps on. And this might already be a bit of a giveaway. Oops. Draw. Okay, so the color might be a bit of a giveaway, a bit of a hint there. So, hey, Nolan, I wonder what this might be. What is that?
It's one of these. It's a heart. Amazon Red Hat. It's pretty close. Red Hat OpenShift on AWS. Wow.
Oh, did someone get
Straight
that
up.
right? Oh, wow. Who was that?
Yes.
Who was that? Love to know.
That was heart_Nick_AUS.
Awesome. So,
That was very
heart,
fast.
heart_Nick_AUS, you have won a $50 Amazon gift voucher on us. So we'll be in touch with you to send that over to you. So congratulations. And don't worry, we'll be giving away more prizes throughout this entire session. All right, so let me just get out of here and over to serverless. All right, so as you know, serverless is powered by, you guessed it, AWS Lambda. Now, who here is already using AWS Lambda, or maybe even thinking about it? And what are you thinking of using it for, or already using it for? Love to know in the Twitch chat. Let us know. Now, the great thing about AWS Lambda is that you can upload your code and run it without thinking about servers, which is great. But what if you're invested in container tooling for your development workflows? And it's not easy to use the same approach if you need to build applications with Lambda. Now, to help you along with that, you can now package and deploy Lambda functions as container images of up to 10 gigabytes in size with AWS Lambda container support. So that is awesome. So you don't have to worry about size constraints anymore with Lambda. Now, this helps you build and deploy larger workloads with large dependencies, particularly machine learning or data-intensive workloads. And we have base images for all your supported favorite Lambda runtimes, including Python, Node.js, Java, .NET, Go, and Ruby, so that you can easily add your code and dependencies. And you can also deploy your very own arbitrary base images to Lambda, for example, images based on Alpine or Debian Linux. And all you need to do is to use the Lambda Runtime API. Now, this is super relevant to enterprise organizations. So who here has separate development infrastructure and security teams? I know I've been there. I was in the infrastructure team in many different organizations prior to AWS. So here's $1 million question. Do you experience throwing things over the fence? You might be the thrower over the fence, or you might be the people catching stuff being thrown over the fence. Now, what about bottlenecks within your processes? I know we've all been there, right? Now, if you're building, well, let's switch to the architecture side of things for a minute, but if you're building and deploying microservices, congratulations, you're already on the path of going down the decoupled architecture path, which is recommended in terms of well-architected. So that's what we recommend in terms of best practices and the well-architected framework. Now, each of these dozens or hundreds of individual components or microservices that run in container or serverless environments are independent and modular, so this can be changed without having to affect others, which is a plus, right? But there is still something to think about, because each of these simple components have a lot of complexity underneath. For example, setting up a simple application that uses these microservices need a long list of services that needs to be configured, such as the choice of compute. What about DNS, load balancing, security, a CI/CD pipeline? What about monitoring? And the list goes on. Now, the great thing about Proton is that, well, on top of it, before I go into what Proton is, developers and platform teams, platform or infrastructure teams, and securities need to somehow work together cohesively to make sure that these collections of microservices or distributed services work. And secondly, how do you manage and govern these microservices in a templated format so you can maintain consistency across every release? So that is a challenge, right? Now, this is how Proton works. Now, instead of spending hours setting up infrastructure for every workload, the infrastructure team can centrally manage deployments without impacting productivity. And when any part of the code needs updating, all they need to do is to use Proton to deploy updates to microservices. So you can get that tick of approval from the developers, and they can focus on just developing code, and the security team as well to get that tick of approval. So that's really important indeed for enterprise customers. Now, on that note, I am going to hand over to Nolan.
Thanks, Mai. You know what? AWS Proton sounds like a game changer. So, millisecond billing. Since we launched Lambda in late 2014, customers have been charged for the number of times your Lambda code is triggered by the code execution length of time, rounded up to the nearest 100 milliseconds. Now, with millisecond billing, your engineering efforts can reduce costs even more because not only will optimization reduce runtime, you'll reduce the execution costs as well. Your optimization efforts are going to be most noticeable when you have functions whose execution time is much lower than 100 milliseconds, such as with low latency APIs. And for those of you who already push performance by increasing memory and likewise CPU, you will only pay for that increased resource in millisecond increments. Next slide, please. Now, tying in with the previous slide, you can push AWS Lambda harder by allocating up to 10 gigabytes of memory, which is what Mai mentioned earlier with the Lambda for containers. This, of course, will linearly increase the proportion of processor up to 6 vCPUs. So if you have workloads that are memory or computationally intensive, they'll run faster. If you have multi-threaded or multi-process applications, they'll run faster too. Now, Lambda's use cases extend even further into machine learning, batch, ETL, genomics, gaming. And you know what? I've already seen my customers taking advantage of the increase in memory in such use cases as data ingestion. Do you have a use case that has in the past run into memory constraints? Let us know about it in the Twitch stream. And lastly, rolling up from the last two slides, AWS Lambda is now another option for running analytics over short periods of time across streaming data in Kinesis and DynamoDB streams. Now you can leverage the simplicity and ease of use of Lambda to set up and manage your analytics workloads. And now with checkpointing, customers can reduce reprocessing in the event of a failure via a new parameter. When you use this parameter, if a batch fails to process, only the records that come after the last successful message are retried. This, of course, reduces duplicate processing and gives you more options for failure handling. That's it for compute. Over to you, Mai, for some final architecture Pictionary.
Thank you, Nolan. That was amazing. Now, for those of you who have just joined us, we are going to give away another $50 Amazon gift voucher. So make sure you have your thinking caps and your keyboard ready. What we're trying to do is I'm going to draw a drawing like you can see here, and you have to guess it. The first person to guess the service name in full correctly and put it in the Twitch chat will get an Amazon gift card from us. Okay, for those of you who haven't won a gift card yet, okay. So we're trying to give as many opportunities as possible for everyone to win it. All right, so starting off, oh, I wonder what that is. So it's hint. We talked about it in the previous section. It could be anything at this point in time.
I haven't seen any answers yet.
Keep
it's a
your
bit
answers.
like a turbo. Lambda is a good start. AWS Lambda container support.
Oh, did someone already get that?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I'll quit drawing now. I was going to draw a really drawn container, but I'll do it anyway. With promise.
All right. That looks like Mr. Hern IT or Mr. Hernet.
Sorry, who was that? Mr. Hernet?
Mr. Hernet, or I'm assuming it's Mr. Hernet.
Mr. Hernet. Okay, congratulations, Mr. Hernet. You have won a $50 Amazon gift voucher on us. So we'll be in touch with you via the Twitch DM. So thank you very much for everyone participating. But please stay tuned because we are heading over to the next section where there'll be more giveaways with Swapna and Najib. So over to you, Swapna and Najib.
Thanks, Mai, and hopefully everyone can hear me very clearly. Yeah, thanks for walking us through the announcements for compute and serverless in general. Hi, my name is Najib Shah, and I'm the solution architect for large enterprise here at AWS. And
my name is Swapna. I'm the technical account manager working with public sector.
Awesome. So first up, I'm a massive serverless fan personally. You know, I mean, how good are these announcements with serverless, right? You know, especially on Lambda, 1 millisecond billing. I mean, I'm still trying to fathom it and how they're doing it. And as well as the Lambda container support that I'm particularly excited about.
Yeah.
I think I've got a lot of customers asking me for, hey, you know, how do I get past the limitation for Lambda deployments? And I think with the container support, I can easily see that solving that problem or going a long way to solve that problem anyway. So at any rate, we're here to talk to you about hybrid databases and storage, and we'll start off with hybrid first. Now, first up is, I'm just trying to, can everyone still see my slides, by the way? I'm just trying to,
no, probably just.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Awesome. So apologies for that, by the way. So we're trying to innovate across the full spectrum of cloud, across the cloud continuum. So far, all of the announcements that you've kind of heard about through Mai and Nolan, we've kind of been focusing on the region, but there's more to it than that, right? So we have on one end of the spectrum for edge computing, we have IoT Greengrass and all the IoT suite of products. Yeah. We also have this whole family of products, which probably I'm going to be touching on a little bit today. But also this middle part where this hybrid truly comes in, where you may want to do something maybe on premises, or maybe have some other kind of low latency use cases that you want to attack. So we'll be talking about Outposts, so there are announcements around Outposts. We'll be talking about local zones as well, which is a pretty cool announcement in my opinion to come ever closer to my audiences at the end of the day. And also Wavelength, which is sort of pushing the boundaries of what we can do within the 5G. So, but they predominantly sort of address these low latency. I want to process my data locally, or I've got some kind of regulatory requirement that I do have to process this data from a residence perspective. So moving on we'll start off with Outposts first. Now, for those of you that do not know what Outposts is, it's effectively a fully managed service that kind of extends the AWS's infrastructure and services and APIs, and sort of gives you the single pane of glass so that you can manage your localized workloads that you may want to run on premises, and you utilize the same sort of APIs that you're familiar with today. So it becomes a lot more seamless experience for you. And I think the real sort of benefit from that perspective is I don't have to reinvent the wheel there, yet another method to manage those infrastructures. I think it gives me some kind of capability and capacity there. So however, the announcements for the Outposts for this reInvent has been around these two smaller form factors. So you can see the 1U and the 2U single rack mountable servers that we have available. And they're about 1 3/4 inches tall. That's the smallest unit, where you can get it in the AWS Gravitron process chipset, or you can get the 2U server. But the real benefit is you can pretty much if you have a really tight space requirement, we have a smaller space available to you. You can still utilize it at the end of the day. And I think another great feature is the fact that you can still run your, our all familiar services that we have, which is the Elastic Compute, the container services, Kubernetes service, or any of the other IoT edge capabilities like IoT Greengrass, to sort of address those low latency use cases. Did you have any customers, by the way, Swapna, that is looking at some of these capabilities?
Yeah, so definitely one of the factors that the customers that I work with, they consider security. There are some restrictions around where you can place the data, where you can't.
Right.
And that's when, to be compliant, I think Outpost has always been on their mind.
Right.
We're still exploring, but like you said, with these new features that we have announced, I think the size constraint is already solved.
Yes, that's correct.
And of course, the security is a very huge factor in this as
well. Yeah. But I can easily see this working in, let's say, on premises, even if it's like a storefront, right, or at a medical practitioner's site, that you may want to run some compute workload there.
Absolutely.
On site. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, we'll touch on quickly on hybrid now. And remember the services that I mentioned earlier, that the services that you can run on Outposts.
Yeah.
Another really exciting piece is now we also have S3 on Outposts available as well. So think of it as the same sort of APIs that we get to call. And what's really cool about it is not only you have block storage on Outposts, but it also has the same technology baked underneath. So it'll take care of the replication to other Outpost devices as well, to give you the redundancy and the durability that we all love with S3. The other one is Snow Cone. Now, this one I'm really excited about as well, because it's the smallest member of the Snow family, and I think it's only 4.5 pounds in weight.
Yeah.
And it's got 8 terabytes of storage on board. It's about the size of a tissue box. I was thinking about just mounting it on like a drone, and just maybe do some land survey or something like that. There'll be some cool use cases there, pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure there'll be other use cases that we can think of as well. Yeah. If you guys can think of any other use cases, like a really tiny tissue box size type of device that you can utilize, just chime it in the chat window, whatever scenario or use case that you may have. I'll be quite keen to sort of hear what they are.
And I'm not sure if I haven't shared with you before, but I'm a drone enthusiast myself. Of course, I'm not at that level where what we're talking about, but probably we can try something.
Yeah. So you bring the drone, I'll grab the Snow Cone, and we'll get the use case done. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the next one is local zones. So maybe the best way to think of it is lots of our customers are actually asking us for greater presence geographically. And I think that's what prompted the local zone. So it's effectively, right now the focus is very much in US, but think of it as satellite data centers that we have sort of spun up to give you the continuous coverage across United States. For now, it's obviously very localized within the United States and North America in general, but with this announcement, it's now rolling out in Atlanta, Chicago, and New York. But I think same as with any of the hybrid services, you can still run your container workloads here, the Kubernetes workloads here. You can even extend your VPCs onto these edge local zones. So some, predominantly to sort of cater to those ultra low latency use cases that we sort of see or the customers want, because their audience base may be based in New York, for example.
True.
So you want to attack and bring the solution as close to your audience as possible. So that's local zones. And this last one, before we jump onto a quiz that I want to sort of touch on, is AWS Wavelength Zones. And I think the best way to describe it is we're actually getting into partnership with the telecommunications providers.
Right. So
what we'll be doing is offer this wavelength zone in the communication service provider's network itself. Think of it as 5G is just exploding right now, or will do, and very shortly as well. So these are getting into the realm of I want to play with ultra rich imagery, sensory data. I've got customers that want to play with video feeds from multiple cameras, as well as like LiDAR data. And these are like the sort of your classical 5G use cases. With wavelength zones, you'll be able to run workloads directly within these communication service providers' networks. So these are again your container workloads that you were thinking of, the Elastic Compute or the Elastic Block Store, etc. So we're actually rolling it out across the United States, but also in Japan and South Korea. And another beauty of this service is the fact that if you do want to leverage the region capabilities, where you have almost infinite compute available, you can sort of piggyback off the dedicated high bandwidth network that's available. So you have a secure connection available to reach out, or for transferring storage, for example, or transferring compute over to the main cloud. So there's different ways you can look at this, I suppose, and I'm quite excited to see what type of 5G use cases are opened up with this service.
So if there is anybody out there who can think of the interesting use cases, feel free to put in, because we always work backwards from the customer demand.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
just go ahead and tell us what do you feel where you can use this.
Absolutely. That sounds awesome. So now what we'll do is we'll have a mini quiz, same as Maya and Nolan will be able to sort of give out $50 vouchers.
Yeah.
So Swapna, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, sure. So we are not good at drawing like Maya and Nolan, so we are just going to read out the question.
Yep.
So the question for you all is, what is the name of the fully managed service that extends AWS to virtually any data center, co-location space, or on-premises facility? And it's okay to put just the letter in the answer. So
I think we already have a winner. I can see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the fastest response.
I'm not even going to try pronounce his surname or the username. I think it's I'm not going to. It's EZEADIUGWU.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations, mate. It is indeed AWS Outposts.
Well done.
So for effectively the next set of the talk, I'm going to hand over to Swapna, who'll talk through databases.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Najib. And I just want to set the context before we start talking about the databases, that why have we selected these features to discuss with our audience today. When 2020 started, there was this thirst of everybody going digital. Every transaction was happening digitally. A lot of my customers just came to me and asked, what do you think the scaling requirement should be? There are devices that we have, there are e-commerce sites we have, there are a lot of businesses which we are not able to run anymore. Everybody is going digital. So what do you think the requirement can be, or what do you think we should scale up to, not knowing what their user requests or the number of requests that are going to hit against their applications? That's when I absolutely thought there is a need of something where you have to think less and do more. And that's why these database features that we have included to discuss with the audience today. So the first one that I want to talk about is Amazon Aurora Serverless version 2. Now, you might be thinking what's new in there, because Aurora Serverless has been up and running since 2018. It's not new. The first version was great. It was pretty solid. And essentially what it did is, so Serverless scales the database capacity up and down automatically. There's very limited that your DBAs or developers has to do to scale the databases. But the most significant improvements that I can think of is the scalability.
Right.
So instead of you deciding now that what your workload scale is going to be, the version 2 actually takes about a fraction of a second to go from hundreds to thousands of transactions.
Wow. Okay.
And in version 1, like I said, it was solid. However, it used to take about 5 seconds to 50 seconds to scale. The second one I can think of is instead of doubling the capacity every time there is a workload that is running on your databases, which has very high demand, the version 2 adjusts its capacity to the fine-grained increment.
So can I ask a quick question here?
Absolutely.
So does that mean that, you know how for V1, it used to be more or less recommended for like spiky workloads?
Yes.
Does this mean that with this new capability, it opens it up to a lot more other use cases?
Yeah, and very good point. So I have seen that with version 1, a lot of my customers were just using that into production, non-production and development environment. That's because of the scaling needs that I mentioned, like 5 to 50 seconds just to scale the database.
Yes.
But with version 2, we are not having that problem anymore. So I could see that the customer coming to me and talking to me like, I'm going to go in production. You can spend a very little time in just deciding what your scaling needs are.
Right.
That's because it's all taken care for you, and you can open for a whole lot of
Awesome.
different use cases. Customers also pay only for the capacity that you're using, and that's when I see you can achieve up to 70 to 90% cost savings. And cost saving is my favorite topic. You know that, Najib. I always talk about something.
Especially with COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. So version 2 is right now available in MySQL compatible edition, but the Postgre will be available in preview very soon.
Can't wait to play.
Yeah. Let's try that. Another one of the exciting announcements is Babelfish, which is the new translation layer that we have for Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL. What that does is it basically enables the Aurora to understand the queries for the application that is written into Microsoft SQL Server.
Nice.
The application that is currently running in your SQL Server can directly run on Aurora PostgreSQL with little or absolutely no change that is required in your application code whatsoever. And the reason for that is the Babelfish, it understands the T-SQL protocol, which is a Microsoft SQL Service protocol. And probably what you can do is once you know that you are migrated, you can just switch off your existing database service and then save the licensing costs.
Yeah, I was going to say, save up on licenses effectively.
We know that the customers are tied with heavy-duty licenses, and they're spending a lot in just that because it's a long-term.
Plus, you get audited as well.
Yes, there's so many other factors to consider. I could think,
freedom, right?
Database freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I could think how we can save so much of time that typically our DBAs and developers, they spend on just transformations. Literally, this is going to be handy for all of them. And please feel free to think where you can think of this use case and let us know, because we are interested to know what you're working on.
Absolutely.
And those who are very enthusiastic about contributing towards the community, we are actually making Babelfish for PostgreSQL an open source project on GitHub. So anybody out there who is interested to know what specific component that we are working on Microsoft SQL Server, or is there anything that you would like to add on, you just have to have registration on GitHub. And that's when you start contributing towards it. So what's happening today is the customers are able to sign up for Aurora PostgreSQL preview. However, in coming days, we will have a like a Babelfish PostgreSQL about next year. Not committing on the timelines, but yeah, that's something which is coming up next.
Yeah, I love this open source initiative with Babelfish, right? So
I love it myself.
Customization, community driven,
yes.
you know, absolutely awesome.
So that's when we get to see a lot of people, what they're looking for and what they're asking for. So yeah, please contribute. And with that, I think we have opportunity for another person to win $50 voucher.
I think we may have underestimated the group today, right? I mean, you know, the first quiz, it got answered within like a split second.
We could have just put some tough questions.
Maybe. But anyway, $50 up for grabs anyway. So what is the new translation layer for Amazon Aurora Postgres that enables Aurora to understand queries written for Microsoft SQL Server?
Yeah.
Is it A, Starfish, B, Amazon Bluefish?
We have the answer, by the way.
Do we?
Yeah, but keep going. I just want everybody
or C, Bubblefish, or D, Babelfish.
And yes, we have the answer, which is Akhil.
Akhil, congratulations.
Congratulations, Akhil. So
Absolutely.
we'll get back to you.
And we made it too easy, right?
Yeah,
we made it too easy. We made it too easy. Should have gone for a little slightly harder ones.
Yeah, next time. Yeah.
Anyway.
And that was about the databases announcements, but there is so much that is coming in storage space. And Najib, I think we can kickstart with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, maybe a better way for me to start this conversation is, S3 is 15 years old now, right? So Amazon, we announced it on Pi Day, effectively. It's interesting to sort of see the transition and the evolution of S3 that has happened over the years, right? From what it was, one of the very first few services, to where it is now, like 11.9's durability, global service, and exciting announcements that we're making today as well, right? And as well as the block stores as well, where there's nearly almost every imaginable shape, size, capacity that you can order elastic block stores effectively. What else can we do, right? I mean, I'm happy to say there's more, right? And we are all constantly listening to our customers, coming up with new innovations in this particular space. The first one that I want to touch on is Storage Lens. Now, I think up until now, customers would have a custom solution to get this analytics on top of their storage. So think about data lakes with thousands and thousands of objects across multiple buckets, multiple regions, multiple accounts, and it's very difficult to sort of get visibility and analytics on your storage effectively. And that's where Storage Lens comes in. You no longer have to do it with your custom solution. You get it out of the box. So I think you've got about 30 usage and activity metrics available, and you have this drill down features as well, which is pretty cool. But you can get into like, various different kinds of insights that you can generate for yourself. So think about, hey, I want to know how fast my buckets are growing, right? Or you want to pick up anomalies within a bucket usage. And it'll make smart recommendations for you as well, which is, and my favorite as well is, especially now with COVID and everything, the cost efficiencies. It makes recommendations on, maybe objects that you can move to a lower tiered storage and save on costs, or highlighting security risks with it as well to say, hey, this bucket or this object is not encrypted, et cetera, et cetera. So an awesome feature at the end of the day to get visibility, single pane of glass to look at all of your assets.
I was actually trying to see in Twitch chat if any of my customers have joined in, because that's the topic we have been discussing for the longest time.
Right.
And then that's what I was thinking, since you're doing the honors, like might as well share with them. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, this particular one, I am super excited about, and also at awe as to the engineering capability to pull this off effectively, right? So S3, as you know, up until now has been eventually consistent. What that means is you write an object to an S3 bucket, and behind the scene it has logic to copy it across multiple nodes. And in the meantime, somebody is requesting objects, let's say list objects via the CLI or something like that. You may end up getting the stale information. And that kind of restricted S3 to certain types of use cases. And I've seen customers, they'll have like custom solutions like S3 Guard on top to cater for this need. But I think what we've rolled out is, with this new capacity is we're offering consistent read on write effectively. So you will write an object and straight away, doesn't matter, if you're querying it straight away, there's no delay at all, and you get the latest copy. And what's really impressive about it is the fact that it comes at no extra cost. And wait for this, no performance hit. And that's a part that's really impressing me a lot, which is how is this possible, right? How are you pulling off this capability without any performance hit? So really impressive, and I think it opens up S3 to a whole bunch of other use cases. Correct?
And I think the audience can take some examples from the publicly available use cases that we have on Amazon websites. So
So, Dropbox and Salesforce are in fact using it right now. For their streamlining the big data workloads at the end of the day. So something really worth looking into, I suppose. And it's obviously comes at no cost, so you can try it out right away. The other one is Amazon S3 Replication for multi-destination. So what this does is you copy an object to a bucket, and behind the scene, the object can get copied across to other buckets within the same region, or to buckets in different regions, or combination of the two. And I think the real sort of interesting use case that this opens up is, I think we get into a lot of scenario where people are asking for data sharing capabilities. You want to share data sets with your partners, or maybe you have a global practice for your business, and you want to share data across your different sort of regions. And I think that's where it comes in really handy, where it's through the built-in functionality, you can just copy or replicate your objects across. Without having to do it 3 times, you just do it once and it replicates automatically for you. This last one for the S3 related updates that I want to sort of touch on is, the intelligent tiering. It would monitor all of the objects that are sitting in your bucket, and it will make a decision to say, hey, okay, I will move this across to this infrequent tier so that you pay less. And I think with this new announcement, what we're offering is 2 additional new tiers. So these are, think of it as colder storage options. So if you're not utilizing your object, let's say for 60+ days, it moves to an archive access tier, or 90+ days, it'll move to deep archive access tier. So you pay even less. So, amazing functionality at the end of the day, where you just have your bucket, turn this feature on, intelligent tiering, and it'll take care of the rest for you. So simply amazing, you get some cost benefits.
Yeah, that's just so great. And I can see how my customers are already eyeing on this and can start using immediately.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So I think I'm going to now hand over to you and let you talk about block stores.
So again, you're just handing over that my favorite part where cost optimization comes. I just go on and on. With the elastic block storage Gp3 volumes that we have launched. So basically GP2 were already there since 2014, and they quickly became so popular. Customers actually loved the simplicity of buying the storage and then getting the throughput, and IOPS bundled with it. But what they did not like is how they have to just buy more storage just to get that additional performance. So they have been asking us the ways to decouple these IOPS performance with the storage capacity. And Gp3 volumes are just what it is providing us to suit that requirement that the customers have. You just don't have to add any more storage capacity and just cater for your IOPS needs.
So I don't have to go and purchase another EBS volume. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes,
Awesome.
that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Or you just don't have to keep adding the storage to your existing EBS volumes just because you want to get more IOPS or more performance with
flexibility.
it. Yeah, that's correct. Because the Gp3 volumes baseline performance itself is 3000 IOPS and 125 megabytes per second. So if not all, most of my customers, they're using like web servers, application servers, and those kind of workloads. They already are suitable for these kind of baseline performance.
Right.
If you're happy with your storage requirement and just think that I need more performance to add with it, that's when you use Gp3 volumes, basically.
Okay.
What we did with the Gp3 volumes is basically made these 20% cheaper than that of Gp2. So yeah, there you go. We preserve the simplicity of it and with a better performance. What I mean by that is...
So if I talk to my customers about it, and how difficult would it be to just turn it on now and move on to Gp3?
Trust me, I call this no-brainer.
And
I'm not overstating this at all. So what happens is if you want to migrate from your Gp2 to Gp3, it's as simple as just going to your console and it's a one-click job. You start seeing the cost savings immediately. So I have worked with my customers in their non-production environments to start with, going workload by workload and seeing what we can migrate from Gp2 to Gp3. We started 30% savings on their storage immediately.
Wow. Okay, awesome.
Now, I know that the customers are going to love Gp3 volumes, and yeah, I would appreciate if you could tell me that if there is a use case that you can think of. But at the same time, there are workloads that are not very suitable for the general purpose volumes without provisioning the additional IOPS. And that's when Nolan also mentioned that there are now EBS volumes which are supporting IO2 Block Express. So the applications like Oracle RAC Cluster or Microsoft SQL Server or SAP, which the customers have been running on their SAN storage, or they have been running by combining multiple EBS volumes together, with EBS IO2 Block Express, what they can do is they can basically run all those workloads into the cloud without need to combine multiple EBS volumes together.
So I've got customers that are sort of not keeping some workloads on premises because they were always asking, hey, where's this SAN that I need?
Yeah.
So those leftover pieces can now move across to the cloud as well.
That's correct. Because if your customers were using SAN storage, you know that there's an upfront cost that they paid, and it's a long-term commitment. Yeah, you can't get away from it. So I would like to call this as a first ever SAN storage that is built in cloud.
Nice.
So yeah, just to go over.
No more excuse for not moving to the cloud.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And just to give some performance statistics around that, so you can get 4 times IOPS, that is 256K, 4,000 megabyte per second, and capacity of 64 terabytes with your existing IO2 volumes.
That's impressive.
And 4 times better at the same price. So just to summarize, IO2 Block Express, it gives the performance of the SAN in the cloud without any headaches whatsoever.
Awesome. And I think we've got one last voucher to give out, right?
Yes, that's correct. So please.
Hopefully a little bit harder this time.
I'm just wondering if anybody has already answered that question, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I think the question is, what are the features of S3 strong consistency? Is it A, strong read after write, B, no performance hit, C, additional cost, no additional cost, or D, all of the above? That's a bit of a trick question, right?
Looks like it, and there are answers that are in the chat.
I'm seeing it as well.
You can have a look here.
Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce this, but it's PACHONJCL. I believe you are the first one who got it correct, so congratulations.
Oh, and by the way, just want to tell you all that we are doing a multitasking here. So if we are not reading your names correctly, or we are not reading the winner correctly, we have the moderators who will get in touch with you.
That's right. Yeah. Moderator will be in touch with you to get you your vouchers. So that's about it from us. And I think next up is Robbie and Nelson, who's going to be talking to you about observability, compliance, and contact center, one of my favorites as well.
my favorite.
Yeah, awesome. Over to you, Robbie.
Thanks, Swathan and Jeep, for that. And good day, everyone. My name is Robbie Cure, Solutions Architect for Large Enterprise based here in Melbourne. And today we'll be talking about new announcements in two specific areas. So I'll be talking about compliance and observability. And I've got Nelson here with me as well, talking about the contact center part. Nelson, do you want to introduce yourself as well, mate?
Thank you, Robbie, and good day, everyone. My name is Nelson Martinez, a specialist for Amazon Connect here in Sydney, and I will be talking about the new Amazon Connect features.
Fantastic. So let's keep things interactive, folks. We would love to hear from you. So keep your ideas and questions and your use cases coming. Also, there's 3 more chances to win Amazon vouchers at the end. So listen very carefully. I'll give you a few hints here and there. So we'll see how we go.
Okay, then first up, we have a new service related to compliance that has caused a lot of interest during the leadership keynotes in the reInvent 2020. Robbie, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so the new service is called AWS Audit Manager. So the whole purpose of this service is to help you continuously audit your AWS usage and to simplify how you assess risks and compliance against industry standards and regulations. Quick question to the audience. Who here went through a internal audit recently? If you did, what kind of frameworks did you run it against? Yeah, use the chat and let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Great. Robbie, but tell us more. What is really AWS Audit Manager trying to solve?
Yeah, so today we hear from customers that they have periodically run assessments, and it's mostly manual with regards to their policies, procedures, and activities. So during an audit, they need to get your IT teams involved, the business involved, and you need to gather the sufficient evidence and build reports so they can prove and demonstrate compliance against those frameworks. So what we hear is that this is a really time-consuming effort, and that's effort taken away from improving your business. So AWS Audit Manager helps to improve this aspect by basically collecting and mapping the data to these frameworks automatically. And it also provides a user interface to improve your collaboration with these, cross teams here as well. And again, it also maintains your data integrity out of the box as well.
Got it. Then talking about compliance, what type of compliance does it cover?
Yeah, so out of the box, it offers a few pre-built frameworks like your CIS, your GDPRs, PCI DSS, just to name a few. And with this, your customers can start with, running one of these frameworks where it will continually collect the evidence from your AWS account and attach the required evidence to some of these frameworks.
That is pretty cool. Those are the well-known compliance frameworks. What about customers that have their own unique set of compliance requirements?
That's a good question. I guess with AWS Audit Manager, you get a lot of flexibility. The customers don't have to use, pre-built frameworks. They can easily create a brand new framework or tweak an existing framework. Really depends on what the customer really wants and what kind of industry they're on.
Got it. Then, okay, that is AWS Audit Manager. Now let's talk about operational excellence. What is one of the coolest announcements on this topic?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest announcements in this area would be the AWS Fault Injection Simulator, or we call it FIZ for short. Please remember this name for later. So that's AWS Fault Injection Simulator. It all stems from the concept called chaos engineering, where you have the ability to conduct load testing, throttling, and just generally being able to inject faults into your application. And it's not just in the testing phase where most people do this, or you can actually do this in production as well. Now, just wanted to, if you're using any kind of chaos engineering, let us know. I would love to hear about that in terms of, how you're using it, why you're using it. I would love to hear that as well.
Okay, you're talking about chaos engineering and injecting faults. Why somebody do that? Maybe we can get some examples from the chat.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for some comments to come around to, have that discussion. But anyway, I guess you do this to find the unknown unknowns, really. The things that you don't test commonly, like, I'll give you a classic example where, assume you've got a search service in one of your websites, and let's assume that your search service goes down. How would your website work? Would it actually come down in a heap? Would it be just a small section that is offline, or do you show a message at the top saying the search service is down, but everything else works? Like, these are the things that you may not necessarily test for on a day-to-day basis. So the idea is, by injecting some of these faults into these components, you observe how your application behaves and make the necessary changes based on what was observed, so that you can, manage your users' experience really optimally.
Okay, that makes sense, but it will be scary to run some of these tests, I imagine, like threatening your database, injecting bad headers on your applications, or coding network traffic. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the fact, right? The fact is that these things do happen, and it's better to have these things happen on your watch rather than, at 2 a.m. in the morning while your team is basically asleep. So AWS Fault Injection Simulator is basically a fully managed chaos engineering service that can basically help run these scenarios for you before it actually happens for real. Yeah, I absolutely highly recommend running some of these things as, part of your regular, development lifecycle and part of managing a highly resilient workload.
Great. As Warner Vogels shared with us over and over, everything breaks all the time.
That's right.
I can see that this managed service would be a great mechanism to be ahead of these issues.
Absolutely. All right, now to the last section of the recap, transforming contact centers. So for those who are unfamiliar with Amazon Connect, it is our omni-channel cloud contact center that helps companies spin up contact centers in record time, minutes even, if you like, with pay-as-you-go pricing and whatnot. So Nelson, please tell us more about it.
Sure. Basically, to start talking about Amazon Connect, I need to go back around 13 years ago. By then, the Amazon retail business needed a contact center that will give our customers personalized, dynamic, and natural experiences. We couldn't find one that met our needs, so we built it ourselves. We made this available to our customers back in 2017, and today thousands of companies are using Amazon Connect around the world. In Australia, organizations such as National Australia Bank, Origin Energy, New South Wales Health, Queensland Health, amongst others, are ranging from 10 to thousands of agents serving their customers daily. We have seen a tremendous growth since launch. For example, back in March and April 2020, we had over 5,000 new contact centers set up, basically to accommodate remote agents due to COVID. Now, if you are using Amazon Connect, please let us know in the chat.
Great. Now, all good things, but tell me, why is Amazon Connect so different? What is special about it? What sets it apart?
Yep. Basically, the reasons why Amazon Connect is uniquely positioned to help our customers is that we can set up and configure a contact center in minutes, as you said before. There is no infrastructure to deploy or manage. It is scalable, easy to scale agents up and down in response basically to business cycles. It is cost effective. You only pay for the time that the agents are interacting with customers. Connect is a contact center built from the ground up in the cloud. It's a major difference with machine learning and AI embedded into it, like chatbots, sentiment analysis, real-time transcriptions, to name a few.
That's great. I mean, features like scaling up and down, building minutes, pay-as-you-go, those were kind of unthinkable previously in contact center world. So yeah, let's talk about the new Connect features launched in reInvent 2020.
Sure. Then we receive a lot of input from our customers on what else they wanted to see from the service. Some of their asks were, first, the customer wanted the service to focus on providing agents with the right information at the right time. Second, identifying and reacting to customer issues in real time. And the third one, optimizing agents' time. There were the three main asks.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk about the first category, which is providing agents the right information at the right time. I understand that, call center agents spend a lot of time searching for the right information about your customer requirements, toggling between knowledge bases and white papers. Is there any service that could leverage AI ML maybe to expedite this activity?
Yep, that is a great point, Robbie. As you said, searching for the right answer to customer questions forces agents to look around in multiple patchwork of systems. Then with Amazon Connect Wisdom, agents can use a powerful search based on natural language to find the right answers across multiple knowledge repositories. Amazon Connect Wisdom uses machine learning speech analytics from contact lens to automatically detect customer issues during calls and provide real-time recommendations based on the knowledge articles. For example, if you have a call and the Wisdom hears arrive broken, it will search all the data repositories and present to the agent what to do when a product arrives broken. Additionally, the agent will be able to type natural language questions into the Windows Wisdom search bar to get more information from the databases. Wisdom currently has a built-in connector with Salesforce and ServiceNow, and there are many more to come.
That's great. All right. Another time-consuming task is, for these contact center agents would be, searching for customer information across multiple databases, CRMs, business applications, what have you. That's just the customer details, right? So, what is Connect doing about this one?
Yep, as you said, consolidating customer data into a single profile across multiple business applications is complex and has been very costly for contact centers. Amazon Connect customer profiles automatically brings together customer information from multiple applications into a single customer profile that is delivered to agents at the beginning of the interaction. Basically, Amazon Connect customer profile scans and matches customer records based on unique identifiers like your phone number or your contact, your account ID.
That's great. So basically, with Amazon Connect customer profiles, agents have all the customer information at the start of the interaction, delivering basically a personalized service that would result in improved customer satisfaction. That's amazing.
Correct. Additionally, Amazon Connect customer profiles come with built-in connectors for Salesforce, Zendesk, ServiceNow, Marketo, and last week we released S3. And additionally, it has a SDKs and API that companies can use to customize integrations with their own homegrown applications.
Perfect. All right, so those were the features about the first category. Let's talk about the second category about, how to identify and react to customer issues in real time. Nelson, tell us more about this.
Yeah, sure. Back in reInvent 2019, we launched Contact Lens for Amazon Connect. This call analytics service allows contact center managers to better understand the sentiment, trends, and compliance of customer conversations to effectively train agents, replicate successful interactions, and identify crucial company and product feedback. If you're using a contact lens for Amazon Connect, please let us know in the chat. Then Contact Lens for Amazon Connect transcribe calls to text, providing keyword matching, entity detection, and sentiment analysis. In this way, managers and supervisors are able to quickly search for specific words contained in the conversations. Now, what we are adding in this case is real-time capabilities to the service. Then it means that the insight can be brought to bear on the interaction as it is happening. Managers specify terms in the console that they want to be alerted, like I want to know any call that said bad experience or unhappy or I will never use you again. Then when the criteria is met, there will be an alert that is a pop up in the dashboard that basically a real-time contact lens will generate that alert, and then the managers will be able to jump into the call or will be able to send a message to the agent and help the agent in real time.
All in real time. That's fantastic. Now let's talk about the third category. How can we help to optimize contact center agents' time?
Yep. Then, as you know, agents in a contact center, they don't only do calls or chats or interactions. They need to do another activities like manually follow up items, calls customer back, fill out forms, complete processes, only to name a few. Those tasks are difficult to track and they are error prone. In some cases, you can have post-its to remember to do something and with the post-it is lost. Then that is only one example. Then Amazon Connect task automate, tracks, and manage tasks for contact center agents, allowing them to create and complete them in the same way that they do a call or a chat in the same interface as well. There is a center place where the agents and supervisor can see all the tasks that needs to be distributed. The managers can easily assign the task, put priorities based on agent availability and expertise, and at the end there will be an improved agent productivity, basically when they are not taking calls.
Yeah, that's perfect. So many new features coming through. That's great to hear. So another segment, whenever I call into a support desk, the first thing that I have to go through, I'm sure it's the same with you as well, is to go through that identity verification process, having to answer multiple questions, some of them personal as well, like your date of birth, your home address, your mother's maiden name, your dog's name, your first dog's name, whatever. I mean, people on the chat, chuck in some details as to what kind of questions you had to go through talking to some of these, supporters. I mean, this is a time-consuming activity, right? And frankly, leads to a pretty mediocre customer experience, isn't it?
Yeah, that is exactly what Amazon Connect Voice ID will do for you.
Really excited about this.
Basically, Amazon Connect Voice ID is a real-time caller authentication service that is used using machine learning power voice analysis. Then basically it will make the voice interactions more secure and efficient. Amazon Connect Voice ID allows customers to create a voice print, so they can have a better chance to avoiding fraud and at the same time save time in their calls. When they opt in, basically they need to say some words, and then based on that we will create a voice print based on the unique voice characteristics. When the customer calls again, then he will start talking to the agent, and after a few seconds, Voice ID will return who the customer could be with a confidence level. And then if that confidence level matches the threshold that the company has defined, then the agent will receive a pop-up with a green tick, and then he will be able to continue the call without the authentication. If the threshold is under that value that was defined, then the agent can go and ask you the questions again, or maybe can send the call for the specialist if it requires.
That's amazing. That feature is going to provide a really amazing customer experience. I'm really excited, to be honest, personally. Yeah, so that's the end of the segment. Let's move on to the quiz.
Yep. Okay. Now that is the next slide. Now the fun part of the session. We will ask 3 questions, and the first one to answer will get an Amazon voucher for $50. Okay.
Perfect.
Robbie.
All right, so the first question, what is the name of the AWS service that provides a fully managed chaos engineering service? So I gave you guys a hint there, guys and girls. We've got 4 answers to pick one from. Amazon Fault Service, Fault Injection Service, AWS Chaos Engineering Service, AWS Fault Injection Simulator. Have you got the answer? I think we do have an answer. AWS Fizz Fault Injection Simulator. Oh my goodness, that's good.
Well
I think
done.
Is that SSM user?
Yeah, we'll leave that to Nolan. Maybe we will find better.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Then
cool.
Second question. Well done. Then which Amazon Connect feature will you use to react in real time to a customer conversation and help the agent to manage the situation?
So you got 4 answers there. Got real-time contact lens, real-time face search, contact lens, and real-time agent search. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think that we got a winner.
We do have a winner. Liang Hui. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Congratulations.
Well okay, the third and last question. Which are the 2 new Amazon Connect features released in reInvent 2020 that would help agents to get the right information at the right time.
So you've got 2 answers here. You got to pick 2 out of the 4.
Yep, 2 letters.
Is it A and B, or C and D, B or C? I don't know. 2 answers. So it could be A and B, C or C and D. I don't know. Got a B and C here. A and C. Oh, we've got A and B. Server crash.
Good one.
Is that server crash?
Server crash, yes.
Perfect.
Well done.
Good handle though. I love the handle, server crash. Excellent. Congratulations. Those are the 2 answers. Yeah, and I think that's a wrap, everyone. Guys, do you want to jump on in here? Everyone else? Perfect. We've got everyone here. Thank you so much for jumping on and interacting with us. We absolutely loved it. Loved hanging out with you guys. Please do give us your feedback so we can really improve sessions the next time we actually run these things. And if you have any questions around the content or anything whatsoever, please reach out to your friendly AWS account team and they will be happy to put you in the right direction. With that, thank you once again, and we'll see you next time. Bye all.
Bye.
See you later.